So that moves us now to citizens open forum. Is there any citizens like to come up and make a few comments? Please come up to the podium, state your name and address, and speak away.
My name is Reggie, and I live in Aldridge Road. I'm also on the planning board, but I'm not speaking for anybody on the planning board. I'm speaking for myself. I'm here to support the later item on your agenda regarding the plastic bag bylaw, which you are going to consider, and I'll be very brief. I'm here to support it. I think it's something that is due. I'm against all bags that are not biodegradable for obvious reasons, and I think you probably are aware of the trash and also the problems that animals have, fish have with non-biodegradable bags. And I think that I'd like to simply talk about the local level. And I think we in Bridgewater do have a problem with trash. I mean, I live in Aldridge Road. Every so often I go down the street picking up trash, and there are plastic bags. There's one about 5 feet, 6 feet up in a bush right now. Why people throw trash, I don't know. For some reason or other, they throw trash where the woods are and not on people's lawn, but there's still trash out there. And I think that change in our country takes place on the local level, and I think that's where it begins. It has in the past. Things like the 8-hour work week, women's right to the vote, all began on the local level. The ban on plastic bags is taking place across the United States. California banned them. It's now going to go to the voters because of the industry has put it on the ballot. Something like 20-some cities and towns in this state have banned plastic bags. I think the time is due. It's going to happen. The question is Bridgewater going to be a leader in some sense? If some of you remember back in, I believe, the early part, 2001, 2002, Sam Baumgarten pushed hard to ban smoking in public places in Bridgewater. And when he first brought it up, he had opposition in this town. There are all sorts of reasons not to do it. Well, it passed. We finally did it. We were one of the, I'm not sure what town and where we listed in terms of the towns, but eventually the state banned it. My point is, it comes from the local level up. There's always going to be opposition. I mean, I'm old enough to remember the opposition to airbags in cars. The automobile company said, you know, they're going to be too expensive, people, that we don't need them, they're not going to work properly. Well, we all have airbags now. My only point is I'm just trying to stress that I think you should take a look at the proposed bylaw. Obviously, you may want to change parts of it. I think that if you work with the industries and the stores in town, it's workable, it can be done, and I think you have to take an active role to try to do it. So I just want to give you my support in the idea of banning plastic bags. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. G-Man. Anybody else like to speak? And please come up.
Hi, thank you. My name is Bernice Morrissey from Lakeside Drive, and I'm here on behalf of the Bridgewater Green Committee, a citizens advocacy group for the environment. And I want to thank Councilman Norris for working with our committee for introducing this ordinance to the town of Bridgewater. And just as Ray said, you act locally and there'll be a groundswell of support, because if we talk to each other, neighbor to neighbor, business to business, we can see that this is a solution. This isn't taking away anything. It has some real perks, and I'm here tonight to ask you just briefly, for when the time comes later this evening, there'll be a discussion by this Clint Richmond from Brookline, who is very informed in what works and what doesn't work on the plastic bag bans, reductions. Whatever's right for our community is what we're pushing for, and we thank you for your consideration. I just also want to add that our committee has been educating our community. Pat Neary is here tonight, and she has been doing a remarkable job of working with the library, showing the Baggett movie, working at the schools, getting in at the very young level. And I'll tell you, you get the kids involved and you have a movement all right there. But when Ray mentioned opposition, there will be opposition. What we're aiming for is no surprises. So within our community, there should be no surprises in this. There's no surprises that we need to do something. The ecological impact of plastic it's not, it's just not biodegradable and it's not smart. A single-use plastic bag, plastic bottle, all of it. It's just very wasteful, and in the 30 or so short years that we have come to rely on these, it's time to just think it through thoughtfully and move in the direction of alternative ways of living the good, healthy life for all of us. So I just want to say that, and I thank you for listening and hope we have your support. Bye now.
We'll jump back to item H, presentations, and I believe we have Mr. Clint Richmond here to discuss plastic bag situation. So I would ask Mr. Richmond to come forward, please.
Good evening. Want me to just jump in here?
Joe, jump right in.
Thank you for inviting me. My name is Clint Richmond. I live in Brookline, where I'm an appointed member of our Solid Waste Advisory Committee. I'm also an elected town meeting member. I was the leader of our plastic bag law effort, and we got a lot of inquiries from other towns for this groundbreaking regulation. And so I started working with the Sierra Club to assist them with other communities. As you'll hear, we've had a lot more follow from that effort. So, Mr. President, with your permission, I'd like to spend a few minutes sort of giving you a little background, and then I'd be happy to answer some questions.
That'll be fine.
So, plastic shopping bags, as you may know and remember, have only been around since the 1980s. Since then, they have basically replaced paper bags entirely. But since they do not biodegrade, when they are not disposed of properly, they began to accumulate in places like trees and in storm drains. And I don't know how many of you got the email that I sent around this afternoon that had a picture of a bag that was in front of the Brookline Town Hall where all our town staff could admire it. But anyway, along with other plastic, these lightweight but high volume materials are quickly piling up in landfills. And so it became enough of a problem that people wanted to take action. And one of the first to do so actually was right here in Massachusetts in Nantucket in 1990, which led the nation in developing a comprehensive packaging law that included plastic bags. Other communities began to consider this in the 2000s. In 2007, San Francisco became the first jurisdiction to start reducing plastic bag usage. And efforts started at the same time here in Massachusetts at the state level, but has not met with any success yet. And I should mention there's been quite a bit of opposition, as you might expect, from, well, actually, it's not entirely expected in my opinion, because there are other alternatives. But anyway, I've been quite opposed to this, and that's been one of the reasons we haven't seen it, these kind of laws more widely. But anyway, in 2012, a group formed in Brookline that helped pass the law that I mentioned, which was based on the proposed state bill at the time. I became the leader of that group, and then, and since then, the number of bag laws in Massachusetts has doubled every year. I sent a graph around that indicated that too in an email, which if you haven't seen it, you're welcome to review it at your leisure. So we do hope this will eventually lead to success at the state level, but until then, we're reducing consumption locally. People on average use 1 bag per person per day, which is, I don't know if that sounds like, it's quite a few. So in a year, that's 365 bags per person per day. So you wonder why your closets or kitchens might be overflowing with these single-use plastic bags. So in Brookline, for example, that translates to 1.7 million bags per month. So Bridgewater, which has about half the population, would be about half that. Most of these bags come from supermarkets, but also pharmacies, convenience stores, and fast food establishments. For example, the Newton Wegmans uses 500,000 bags per month just by itself. So we want to move away from this single-use mentality. In fact, we have to. Plastic packaging requires the problematic extraction of non-renewable resources, oil and natural gas. Packaging is not the highest and best use of these valuable resources. Next, I'd like to talk briefly about the economic cost. to us. The cost of non-biodegradable plastics includes the need for more landfills. And this is happening in Brookline. We use the Southbridge landfill, and they're expanding it. It also means cleaning out clogged storm drains, which is why Bangladesh passed the first bag law in the world in 2002. They were getting floods. Plastic bags are increasing our recycling costs in every community because these lightweight, low-value recyclables clog our recycling facilities. And again, I sent you a link to a video about this topic from a public service announcement, which you can watch on YouTube. Plastic bags are also adding to the litter alongside our roadways and in our parks, which increases the cost for our our public works departments to collect. These costs are not being borne by the manufacturers of plastic bags or the retailers who distribute them. These costs are being borne by municipalities like Bridgewater. The good news is we have alternatives, which your ordinance, if passed, would encourage. So we can return to paper bags, which cost slightly more than plastic for the retailer, but have much lower total costs for cities and towns and have much lower environmental impact. And I should add that, and I have an MBA too, so I'm familiar with business accounting, but, plastic bags, or any bags for that matter, are a very tiny percentage of any business's cost, which is why they can give them away for free. So while there might be a cost difference, the thing to focus on is it's not going to have an impact on the bottom line that's significant for any business, and no business has gone out of business because of these kinds of laws.